right?
A water skin.
Yeah, can I pull out a water skin and just gently pour a little bit out of the out into my hand, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to just trickle it into my eyes.
Okay, sure. Um, you do that, and you open your eyes, and much like on an acid trip, everything is crisp and vivid. Like
Juicy.
you've cranked up the visual settings. Basically, you're in 4K HD, and you can see every individual raindrop falling. And then you look back down, and it's you can see down below. It's far away, but it's clearly what might very well be the body of a person down at the very bottom of the cliff.
Yeah, he fell down there.
Fell or pushed?
Well, I can't tell.
Exactly.
He's dead. Well, wait. So let me understand this, Lutz. I don't know. I'm talking like a Southern man.
Yeah, you are vibrating through those accents.
I completely lost my my
Your
mojo.
wolf.
Me mojo, lad. Me mojo. Give it back.
Now tell me, Lutz. You were supposed to spend the night here with Garo, yes?
Yes, he's not very well liked around these parts, and he needed a place to stay. I thought I could
Well, how
talk.
about we go into the tent and we find him? Because the merchant that we were kind of sent here for, at least in the first place.
You were
You
never
know.
sent.
No,
guys
but
just-
we heard.
You heard word. You had rumors.
I think I understand what the gods were trying to tell me this whole time.
What's that, Lutz?
The gods wanted him to kill himself, and they needed me to persuade him to do it.
So you're admitting to murder now?
Well, I definitely can say I was a part of his decision-making process, that's for sure. He wanted me to come off with him.
Lutz, I really trust me. The village does not like us already. Don't give them another reason.
Haida pipes in. If what I suspect was influencing Aegon's mind is truly what was influencing his mind, none of this needs to reach the rest of the village. Some people suspected there was something wrong with him, and if we can find the source of it, we have an explanation, and then we can destroy that explanation to be sure that it does not happen to anyone else, because who knows if there are other people that he influenced that are not throwing themselves off the cliffs as well.
Oh, and Boreon's afoot. I can
Yes.
smell it.
Well, let's follow that sniffer then.
Well, why don't we try the tent first with Garo?
True, we can do that real quick.
I'll just check the tent is all I'm saying. If he's not in there, fuck.
Fine, I'll wait here by the cliff face.
Who's going to check the tent?
Lutz and I are...
Yeah, I'll check the tent.
Okay. The both of you move back up the path, back toward the top of the cliff, and go toward the dark interior of the hovel. Pushing in the door, it's dark inside. There's only a faint gray light that comes through a hole in the roof that the smoke normally filters out of, and rain is currently coming down through it. Briefly illuminated in that soft glow that comes down from the ceiling, you can see a hand.
From the ceiling?
Yeah, so the light comes down through the ceiling, and there is basically someone's hand is just illuminated by that glow. Lets you get a brief flashback from last night.
Who goes there?
There's no response.
Hold on.
It's otherwise quite dark, and as you fully push open the door, the light from that filters in, and the light from the doorway touches and illuminates a set of legs and you recognize the clothing to be Garrow's.
Is he stiff?
I'm gonna check to see if he's alive.
Sure, you go down and sort of give him a shake, and just the body's completely limp, and your hands come away bloody.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's murdered.
He's dead. I can tell you that much.
There's blood.
Yes.
Upon closer inspection and like looking, sort of strategically using the light from the ceiling to sort of take a look, a lot of stab wounds.
Oh, yep, he was stabbed very well.
Well, it looks like the town decided what they wanted, eh?
Well, still, we have no idea what was this. Why did the town want to murder this priest so bad?
He
What
was
is he-
trying
what-
to turn their
The Garrow
town.
was the merchant, and
Oh,
The
He wanted
vibe
to
that
turn
you-
it into a mining town.
exploit them for their resources.
oh, jeez.
That's all she wrote, I suppose.
This town.
We should live.
We fucked up.
Well, that's what happens. You've seen enough Lutz from way off. Let's carry on now.
Oh, I have. Well, we should still, we should
What?
still find the source of that Emborian magic, no? And you're
Well,
our
of
best,
course.
you're our best hope of finding that.
That's what we need to do to secure this town.
Is there any, is there anything with, like, the hut that's unusual? Like,
No,
it's,
The hut, if anything, looks normal now. Now that no one is tending to all the lights that kept everything like overly brightly lit, almost painfully so.
Alright, let's do the 10.
Okay. You go back down the cliffside, and you all, after about about 5 or 10 minutes of traveling along the side of the cliff, you eventually come to an area that opens up into sort of a larger rocky outcropping that leads into a cave. On this outcropping, you see multiple hammocks strung between rocks. Fucking Lutz, you recognize this as a Rolk burial practice. In particular, in mountainous regions.
Wouldn't Byrne know that? He's from...
It's mainly, anyone from Rolk understands this burial practice. It's basically when someone dies, across the board, the joints are always broken, and then after that is different burial techniques to try and prevent people from rising back as undead. In this case, they're kept in hammocks to basically rot away from exposure before eventually being interned in a burial site. Just so that way, if they do come back, it's a much less hardy corpse, something that can be easily dealt with.
huh. So-
Hey.
So wait, who are we talking about though? Like they're doing this to the merchant?
No, it's
No,
just a burial.
this is just you have reached an area where it seems that burial practice is conducted. It
Oh.
makes sense considering it's fairly near the priest's hut.
Understandable.
And you would assume that the cave further in is likely where bones and personal affects are then put to rest.
So, Haida, is this the place?
I suspect. If all of it was radiating outward from the priest, then likely he was the one that was exposed to it the most, for whatever reason.
Can Wolf sniff? Is it straw? Can I sense any active...
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially coming down this way, it's almost nauseating. Even though it's Amborian and you would expect it to be so nice and lovely. Just it's the cleansing burn.
The gods want us to
in
destroy
your
this.
nostril.
Can you keep your voices in your own head?
Malika said voices. Instead of voice.
Haida, can you show us the grave that you suspected?
Yes, I can. She
They still have no idea what we're really like.
She steps
how much I
toward
know.
the entrance of the cave and pulls out a torch. She gets out a little tinderbox and flint and lights the torch. It flares to life, and she starts walking into the darkness.
I follow along.
Follow soon behind.
I'll follow.
The smell of basically decaying bones. It's not like a flesh decay. It's not nauseating. It's just sort of the dusty, like what you might expect the inside of a pyramid, like in Egypt, to smell like. It's just sort of dusty and dry, despite the humidity around you guys. And as you go in, jeez, I keep forgetting the freaking name. Along the walls,
Yes.
you see different markings that indicate different people's names, their professions, when they died, noteworthy deeds. It's fairly simple writing, but it's all clearly done by a priest, almost for their own sort of record keeping in a way. And Haida moves with the purpose of someone who seems to have been here multiple times herself. And as you move in, eventually the cave opens up slightly, and along the walls, she moves to one particular opening where the torchlight illuminates a pile of bones with an immaculately preserved steel sword is clutched in bony hands.
Who is this?
I think this is it.
All right.
Wait, can I read? Is there any like markings of who it says it is?
Yes. It is. Sorry, pull up my prep here. It seems to be someone named Wyatt. And they were a gentry. Presumably died maybe 5-ish years ago, thereabouts. Yeah. And
How long,
notes have them as being from Femberga.
How long has the priest been acting strange?
I would say about a year or two now.
This corpse has been around for quite a while.
Yes. All the more time for the magic to set in, I suppose. Especially when we weren't aware of what was going on.
Can
All
I
the more easy for it.
can I take out my hand axe and saying, so should we destroy it?
Oh, hold on.
Perhaps we should take it to the city.
It looks like a perfectly good sword, but I do agree on this one. If it does have the properties that we believe it has, we need to at least study it.
Well, first off, how
As
about you?
long
Can you
as
do any magic spells to discern any specifics about this wolf?
Yeah, can I touch it?
Yes.
I gently touch the blade. Not.
Sure, you put your hand on it, and, almost on reflex, activating your wizard sense, touching it is like almost, let me see, try to describe the physical sensation here. It's almost as if you've touched something white hot and also bone-bitingly cold at the same time. This is very clearly the source. And just like looking at your fingers, there's no marks on it visibly, but for a moment your brain sort of plays a trick on you, as if there's a slight glow on the fingertips that made contact before the glow dissipates.
Oh yes, this is it. All right.
Is it immediately? It doesn't seem immediately dangerous, but then again, he lived quite a far away. Us being so close, the effects could amplify pretty quickly. No?
It's has a weird feeling. Badly describe it.
All I heard was ballad scryme it.
I said it's got a weird feeling about it. I barely describe what
Oh,
it
barely
feels
describe.
to touch it.
In a word, painful.
Yes. I try to. Do I have like a wrap? You know, like a piece of cloth, maybe.
Sure, absolutely. If anything, like a cloak or a mantle that perhaps you wear to at least keep the rain off. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll take that off and I'll try to wrap the sword in it
Sure.
and see what happens.
It's still held in Haida's hands.
Oh, she's holding it. I thought it was burning.
Yeah, she
burning hot.
she had taken it off and she had been holding it, and then the lot of you examined it while it was in her hands. She says, "You're going to take this away, yes?"
Can I ask her? Continue, I guess. I was gonna
Yeah,
ask her who
it'll-
Waith was.
It'll be studied and most likely destroyed after.
Good. You can roll charm 2d6.
Well, me, I shouldn't have been talking.
You know, just considering what you just said, I'll give you 3.
Ooh,
Oh.
you get the big die.
Can
Come on,
I
buddy.
can I ask her who Waith was as well?
Wyatt?
Wyatt, sorry.
He was an invader. He sought to take power here, and briefly he did, but his way was not ours, and soon he found knives in his belly.
Similar to that merchant.
Yes.
Oh, we actually never told her the merchant was dead.
You didn't? Oh.
She seems completely unaffected.
Yeah.
She,
I
she
rolled a-
prophesized.
I rolled a 15.
You can tell by the way that she's carrying herself around you, especially in this close proximity. She trusts your word.
Thanks.
Yeah, like it's a whole demeanor shift compared to the tension and like practically scowls in your direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was only by the grace of your comrades that likely that you are alive. So, you have the sword in your possession. You are all led back out of the cave, up and out back to the village. Haida sees you all to your wagon, where your support staff seem to already have gotten the vibe, like, yep, time to go. She says, though it was strange meeting you all and truly seeing what the circle, I suppose, is capable of, you've at least done us a service by getting rid of this. And she spits on the ground. This thing that has been slowly and insidiously killing us.
Can I
Can
I also- sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say before we go, can I put the priest to rest? Like his body?
Sure. Tell me how. Do you want to go all the way down to the base of the cliff and like retrieve it, or
Yes.
what's your idea here? Okay, sure. Yeah, you can do that before you go. It'll take a bit of time, surely, to get to the bottom, and you would need an outdoorsman to help you. But if that's something that you want to do,
I have an outdoorsman. Oh no, Colin's gone, but damn.
Yeah. It would be dangerous to do on your own in that context then. Especially considering you know what it's like to get lost in the woods just above the cliff. Getting lost trying to go down the cliff and then back up it when especially it is not your skill set as a priest, it would likely be suicide. But informing people like, hey, it seems like he fell off the cliff, they'll take care of it.
All right.
They'll see to it.
I've been told no anyway, so yeah.
I mean, just you can try if you want. Just be aware of your own limitations, especially profession-wise. Like
We
an
just said it'd
outdoorsman.
be suicide, so and I also the gods did tell me no.
Fair enough.
So
Alrighty. in that case, you bundle the sword in the mantle, load it in the wagon, and depart back through the mountains toward the citadel. Well done, everyone. So close to death you were.
Yes. Very
I
intriguing.
was honestly expecting more to happen once we actually grabbed the sword. I was like, so I was like, everyone get prepared, grab your arm, let's
Yeah.
go.
You guys had reached a successful climactic moment, mainly when Wolf got ambushed in the stable. If you had just faffed around for the day instead of like being proactive with the sword, you absolutely would have gotten murked. But considering that you had Haida with you, who seems to be sort of a leader-ish, just in terms of like her role that she plays and the fact that people trust her and her judgment. Yeah, that's probably what kept you alive for the most part. It's just like, okay, yep, they have done something significant for us. Haida will explain it at some point, I'm sure, but at least these people are now leaving, and that's what we wanted from the get-go. So, more than likely, public opinion will be changed as the story is told. But for now, the fact that all of you are alive and you have successfully recovered this enchanted object, significant success for the circle. It's a shame that you didn't get the merchant, but
Yeah.
considering the local reaction, it seemed like he wasn't really a trustworthy guy.
True. That's what I was
Yeah,
trying. I was
especially-
trying to get a supply line set up to the Rolk.
Absolutely. But knowing Spur, where treachery is trust, it might not. It seemed, especially at least coming from this guy, it seemed like his motives were shady, and it might not have gone well long term. So it's probably for the best that he died. But relationships with Spur are still potentially open. It's just a matter of who you decide to trust.
I'm from Spur.
Yeah, no
Yes,
wonder
you
no one likes you.
You got your wits about you, lad, but the problem is you ain't trustworthy. Especially because like the overly, I think it's even noted in like the demeanor thing. It's like friendly. It's like it's really out of place being overly friendly to people. Like being friendly to everyone you meet, or just friendly in general, is sort of odd. Like most interactions start off with neutral hospitality, as long as you conduct yourself appropriate for your social rank. But it's only like, okay, we'll be friendly once we actually get to know each other. Like, are you someone I'm interested in being friends with, or are we two different people that really probably shouldn't be together, sort of deal, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially, it's real tricky for you because it seems like Wolf was just very out of his element. One, he's up in the mountains away from the sea, and he's a fisherman. Two, he's also a wizard who is almost openly casting spells in an overall society that usually frowns magic. So he's
We live in a society.
When we
Yeah.
go to this island right here, which I really want to do, you're gonna be in your fucking element.
oh yeah, like
Yeah.
having
I
a
want to
wolf
go
around
to
for
this
going
damn
there
thing.
going to be very useful.
See, guys, charming the women always works.
No,
Charming
you
and
got
works.
we each went to charm our own separate set of people, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, we
the
all
most
had our
part.
own side story.
Besides for the priest trying to murder me.
Yes. Well, the thing is, he didn't see it that way. He was literally seeing things very differently.
Yeah, no, that's literally the thing. Yeah,
hmm
I trusted him. It's
You
if
just
I would
trip
have
and
failed
ball.
that check, I would have been dead, and I would have been okay with that.
That would have been quite the end.
That would have been
Nuts.
quite the end. Did you guys find
Especially-
both of us dead? Like, huh? What happened?
So, you guys succeeded. You have the option to level up any attribute that is not 9 or above. So, all you got to do for that is... let me see here. Where is it at? I've got it here. One moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Circle Knights who survived the venture have a chance to improve their attributes. Choose a single attribute currently at 9 or less, and roll 2d6. If the result is higher than its current value, improve its value by 1.
Let's go in a row. Caleb, you do it first. What are you trying to increase?
Charm.
Mm-hmm.
About to be really easy. There you go.
Boom. Trey, what about you?
You know what? I'm gonna try to actually get my quickness up.
Okay. Hope your dice are lucky. It equals it. Is that?
Is it equal or is it greater?
If the result is higher than the current value.
Damn, feels
Rip.
bad. I'm
Alright,
going
how
to-
about you, John?
I'm gonna try to increase my brawn.
God damn it.
Hey!
Nice. Yeah, Brawn is super useful to increase because that basically means you can cast more spells.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically, if you cast any spells this venture, be sure to carry over the dot changes in MS Paint. And if you leveled up, be sure to modify the attributes. All injuries are completely healed now. We're gonna have to try and figure out a way to make it a little smoother, to sort of stay on the fly with the character pages, because I know that just writing over them with the draw tool can be kind of finicky. But basically, just make sure that you save the new copy, and then just be ready to send it to me next time, so that way I can update the images.
Yes.
So at least we have a reference to draw from.
I didn't cast a single spell.
And that's okay.
It wasn't a very combat-intensive campaign, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we didn't hurt anybody, technically. Besides the priest who killed himself. Even though it wasn't his fault, he killed himself. I understand, but you know.
Yeah, I never really hurt those just scared them.
Yeah, you definitely scared him.
Yeah, that could have gone much worse. Like, if you had came back in soaked in blood, oh, that would have absolutely shaken everything
Put
up.
another shrimp on the Barbie, lads!
He was definitely soaked in blood, just not their blood.
It was a fresh wound, like, in the back, so he wasn't, like, drenched in it, and it was only a single stab, compared to multiple. So he was, in the grand scheme of things, like, alright. It's not like his face and hands were completely covered, he just cast a spell and then just looked like shit coming in there.
Tony,
Oh.
he's fucked up.
Yeah, because it actually looked like he was attacked rather than he just, like, murdered everyone. And even then, if he had done magic, more than likely he probably would have escaped, like, still looking
Hey,
roughly
Chris.
the same, depending on the spell.
Is this a swamp?
Is what a swamp?
This is what I'm hovering over.
Let's see. It's basically a river delta.
Damn. I want it to be a swamp.
There are swamps. I believe they're mostly in Tamarion because it's a lot of rivers and open plains at about sea level. So there's a lot of wet ground that can make for some really great farming, potentially, but it can also be very treacherous to travel on foot.
I see.
Especially wearing armor. It's just like, oh no, I'm sinking and I'm drowned. Bye. Yep. So, feedback for the session. Caleb, go.
I think it needed more of a climax, personally.
Okay.
Just because, like, I know, like, me getting attacked was sort of that, but, like, I didn't do anything. I just kind of cast a spell and ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Sir,
So I guess, like,
bravely ran
It
away.
didn't really, I guess it just didn't really feel like a react kind of thing. Not saying it's but we kind of just found the sword.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I suppose then to note, everything in this world basically ripples out from what you all do, compared to Curse of Strahd, where there's all this background stuff that's like waiting for you to just sort of come upon it, and then there's the pre-canned dialogue.
yeah.
This, there's stuff that's going on, and it's pretty much RNG. In this case, it was okay. There's an opportunity for Rolk. This guy is coming in. And he's trying to like establish the mining thing for better or for worse. Then it sort of depends on where you as players devote your attention to. I think I might need to just better plan out who is actually where and when you run into them, just so that way it's a bit more clear. Because especially like you didn't run into the opposite side of the coin for the merchant thing, because basically there was a farmer out there who was basically going to spearhead the murder effort against this guy, but he just didn't run into him because he was over at the community farm. And it's just like, okay, if we hang out with the farmers, you would have met him, but you instead went to the longhouse, you met Haida, and then eventually Aegon, and that. So basically, both of these components within the story started to kind of overlap, and they both sort of reached their own conclusions in their own way. But the thing is, with that climax, like if it was a bloodbath, it speaks a lot about your character.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems that despite about to be murdered in cold blood, Wolf still has mercy for those that would try and do him wrong, which is I find quite interesting.
No, I would have fucking murdered if I had the chance.
If I wasn't drunk, you'd be in for a different story.
I mean, since they were all trapped and helpless, you could have just like taken the one dude's knife and just stabbed all of them. You could have.
I
Totally
didn't want to take the chance of getting it. 'Cause I was
Yeah, I think if
getting
Caleb
one
knew
of
better,
the-
he would have, but he didn't realize he could have done that.
like, if they like, I just didn't want to take a chance.
I take a
Out.
chance. I
They
take a
would have
chance.
stabbed me
I took
first
it
time.
down.
Done.
No, especially magic against unnamed characters, which is what you were fighting. Or basically, when I say unnamed, it's basically like they're basically just mooks you haven't been introduced yet, basically, but you have interacted with them in some fashion. Fighting against them, on its own, can be extremely dangerous, and that's when the quickness rolls come in. But when you use magic to make them helpless, they're helpless. No ifs, ands, or buts. They are
Oh.
completely at your mercy, especially in that case.
Yeah,
Right
Caleb,
there.
like if you look at the spells, there's unnamed characters
Mhm.
part of the spell that literally they just don't even get to fight back.
Oh. Yeah, I
So
legit
if you had done it to
would-
Haida, that would have been
Yeah.
a different story.
Wolf, yeah, would have fucking.
I'm glad Wolf didn't, because then I would have been put in the middle. Like, well, I can't really ask her to not do it because you murked the folk that she's protecting.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to kill Haida because she can beat my ass.
Anyway, it was a very good campaign, I thought.
Thank you.
Hmm.
At least up against Haida, even an injured wizard can be extremely useful in trying to potentially. Actually, no, you had one brawn left. That would have put you in dire straits, and you would have probably gotten maimed from it.
Yeah, probably would have left the if I killed.
Because things you only die in certain circumstances, and that is when both your brawn and your quickness at the same time are brought simultaneously to 0, and that is instant death. If they are brought to 0 independently, like 2 separate attacks, you are basically just immobilized from stun, shock, fatigue. You're still alive, but you're just barely holding on, and basically you need to get the fuck out of there as quickly as possible.
And
but
get
you are
out of there!
You are alive, but you're out of commission for the rest of the venture. Like, you basically cannot function. It's sort of like being comatose, almost.
Yeah.
You will survive the venture as long as it concludes and you aren't murdered in your very vulnerable state. But usually that's a cue to be like, okay, one of our dudes is almost dead. These people are crazy. Let's murder them all and leave. or let's just leave. Because especially in a fight like that, usually it's big and climactic, and it's like, okay, holy shit, we survived. Listen, these people are nuts. They can take care of the rest. We've done our job here of like trying to avert the worst possible outcome. Let's go home. And usually along the way, it's like, okay, let's cast Balm on this man's a couple times. You know, just here you go. This shit is rigged. Complete bullshit. I want to level up. Fuck you guys. Well, perhaps you need to get better dice.
Just for fun, I rolled it again, got a 10.
Of course.
I will say, like, it's not your like the game design of it being RNG if you even ordered for like.
So it's partly like, okay, there's RNG to determine what exactly is going to be present. It's sort of
leveling.
Oh, leveling
How
up.
it's RNG based to get rewarded for your time.
Yeah, but even then, your manses are already pretty fucking powerful in their own right. So and even then, leveling up is not the focus of this game. Like, it's just like, oh neat, you know, I might get this thing that'll boost me by 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
Yeah.
Gosh darn right, I want to be able to charm everyone.
Well, perhaps then, if you want to truly charm everyone, you ought to have rolled a character that was more charm focused. Because you are in control of where you place the attributes. And whoa, hang on. You have a charm of 7.
Yeah.
That's
not bad.
fine. That's nearly twice
Caleb
the
has
human
a
average
2.
for being charming and trustworthy. Yeah, you are the face of, like, you were doing just fine. People
Caleb's
trusted
like a
you.
hobo asking
You
you
were
for a
doing
hug.
Pretty much, yeah. You were essentially a homeless dude that was just going around begging, and people don't like that. It's like, no.
I am homeless.
Anyway, Trey, feedback from you. We just finished Caleb's feedback in a way.
I mean, I liked it. I was a little uncertain at first because I was like, I just didn't really know what I was truly doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of felt it out near the end and got a little bit better.
Yeah, especially like all of this is driven by what, because essentially Circle Knights, your characters, are avatars of change. And it's not even necessarily if that change is right or wrong. It's just like, hey, these guys showed up, and they've just got something on the brain, you know. So it could, like, just think like in your character's eyes, like, okay, my character heard about this rumor. What's their thoughts about it? Are they like, nah, that's bullshit. I bet there's something else going on. Or, okay, this is really important. I'm gonna follow through on this. Or, I don't trust this person. I'm gonna kill. So it's very much like, what does my character actually want? What is my character motivated by? Much more so than D&D, where it's pretty cut and dry by comparison.
My character was motivated to be with Hilda.
Yeah, and that works, and that makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's a very human motivator to be around this person, you know, and that makes sense. So in that regard, yeah, you did great. It's especially, I think I need to mainly work on making sure the boundaries. I need to reread like how the interactions between social ranks go. Because I know there's some specific dice bullshit that goes there. But one thing to consider for future stuff, because especially early on, you guys were rolling with 1d6. Before you like try and talk with people, it's often best to perform acts based on your social rank, to sort of be like, okay, yeah, because essentially your characters don't look the part of their profession, whereas everyone else does. So basically, as an entertainer, you are essentially wearing the same sort of stuff that a Gentry does. Like, you've got the emblem that normally Gentry wear, you're traveling with armor and even on a horse, perhaps. It's almost like the scene from Django Unchained where it's like, oh, we've never seen a black man on a horse before. You know, it's almost like that. People are people don't quite know how to react, but the reaction usually is, okay, they're doing all that stuff. That must mean they know what they're doing. But let's try and sort of, are they going to act within our expectations and therefore make us comfortable with them? Or are they going to subvert our expectations and like completely go outside the norms of like social etiquette, basically?
I gotcha.
Wolf definitely fucks society
Fox what?
sometimes. No, Wolf just
Yeah, and considering your character's background of just being a wizard, that definitely separates you from society by a decent degree. And
that's
having
the thing. He doesn't give
yeah.
a shit. He'd rather
See,
kill
that's
someone.
why I was trying to
Mhm.
sing sea shanties all the time. Cheer.
Hark!
Hark, Triton! Hark!
I can sing your real sea shanty, not none's harp. Oh shit.
Please make us fight fucking Baja Kraken.
I want to
Baja.
fight
That'd
Blue
be
Eyes
interesting.
White Dragon.
Baja.
That's possible. There are dragons. Cool. I can definitely make a note of that for next session.
That was a meme. I was making fun of Yu-Gi-Oh! Blue Eyes White Dragon.
No, but seriously, there's an actual dragon. It's a Amborion creature monster. Let me actually see, where is it at? Silver Dragon. A silver dragon is an astounding, bewildering presence. No one could mistake one of these for a worm. Although wingless, it hovers or rockets through the air, coiling and spiraling in perfect circles within circles, the patterns punctuated with exploding points of light. It perceives and understands the current social and geographic situation profoundly well, and thus cannot be surprised or tactically deceived. However, unlike the guide, it equally profoundly does not interact directly with anyone, and is not concerned with opinions or specific actions. Its only goal is eradication. It does not care a bit about what a person without black and white gifts does or does not do. It is a combat horror.
Huh.
What was that? Like, what are we talking about? What is that referring to?
A silver
dragon.
dragon.
Oh.
Yes, it is an Amborion monster.
I'm
Damn.
kind of excited for the second one because we're not playing our second characters, right?
No, well, you can't.
Play,
You-
you
so-
can't play two characters.
You cannot play the same character twice in a row.
Yeah,
Right,
but someone
so
else.
we're
can
not
play
we're not
these
all
characters.
just gonna jump to our jump to our separate character sheets because that'd be kind of, I mean it's kind of interesting because like
Up to you.
literally yeah.
So if you guys
Trey
wanted,
could
you
play
could literally you could rotate the character sheets around clockwise if that's what you wanted to do.
What?
That's
What?
when John would be playing.
I
like
want to
John,
play
you-
Wolf.
You want to play Wolf?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, there you go. See, that circle of hands.
Although
is
I need to
not
look
shown.
at
thing is, like-
I need to look at every sheet, which I'll ask you for every sheet later. Your sheets later.
All the
Chris.
sheets are actually here.
The cool thing.
Yeah,
is
but
that
the
you get to
updated
see-
sheets and all that, you know.
These are the updated sheets.
You updated my sheet?
Oh no, not your
No,
updated sheet. Like,
Not like the plus ones that you just got. No, but like
The cool thing is that you get to see other people's interpretations of your characters.
yes.
just don't get my character killed. That's all I ask.
It would happen. One
I mean,
day.
Wolf did almost just die, so
Also, definitely take some notes about like what your character did, what you think about because this session basically gave you a much better idea of who your characters are, as you actually got to see it play out in the choices that they made, and sort of how they view people around them. So consider that, take some notes, jot them down, because that can potentially be important for whoever plays them next if they're going to be like, I saw how they acted last time. I wonder how they're going to react now in this new situation.
apparently my character's just a woman charmer. There you go. Simple enough. Have fun with the character.
Alright.
Alright, it is 1:40 in the morning. It is time for sleep, please.
Understandable.
Oh, fuck. Okay, everything froze for a second. Alright. I gotta see if Eric Starks willing to show him something, so I'll be
Nah, he's asleep.
Rip the one to show him something. Basically, what I was gonna show him.
What's going
You
on?
know, I've been talking about Morrowind a lot, Caleb.
Yeah.